So right now, everyone's singing the praises of this update, and there's a ton of reasons to be. I think the Brawl Stars team is doing a great job with this update in many ways, but there's one change that I think they're making a mistake with, so let's talk about that in this video. What's going on, Jam Fam, and welcome back to the gaming station. So, today's video, I'm going to talk about what I think is pretty much the worst part of this update, and that is the change to your ammo when you respawn. If you don't know, with this update, the Brawl Stars team decided to make it so you have 0 ammo when you respawn after dying in a match. Now, I don't have any screenshots to back this up, but I have a hunch they made this change to help speed up the pace of some matches, as there's some modes like Brawl Ball where you can get stuck in a stalemate pretty easily. We've all had that scenario happen where you get a team wipe around midfield, but by the time you get the ball up to the goal, the other team starts respawning with their shields. So, you need to try to get a kill or two before you can attempt to score again. This results in one team constantly respawning and the other team just spawn camping for an extended period of time, and it can be frustrating for both sides, and it can be boring to watch. Now, you guys may disagree with me on this, and feel free to express that down in the comments, but I think this is a pretty bad change for the game overall. I just wanted to go over my thoughts on the change and hear what you guys think as well, because like I said, nobody's really talking about this, and I feel like it's something that we do need to have a conversation about. But before we get into where I think this is going to hurt the game, let's talk about the good changes, because I do think there are places where it will improve the game. And I already talked about one of those situations, and that's the spawn camp scenario in Brawl Ball. I've always hated being stuck in that stalemate situation on both the defending and the attacking side. It's annoying for the attacking team because you've already outplayed the opposing team to get in that situation, but you just can't finish the goal, and it's very frustrating for the defenders because you're doing everything you can, but if you're just trickling in one at a time, eventually you're going to lose that stalemate. So, removing ammo on respawn allows the attacking team an easier chance at getting a goal by just walking the ball in and avoiding the situation altogether. I think this is a good change in the long run, a lot like how removing self-scoring was also the right call for the game. The next mode that's going to benefit from this change, in my opinion, is Gem Grab. Right now, comebacks in Gem Grab are extremely difficult once a team gets the required amount of gems and can back up into their spawn. Right now, you basically need to get a full team wipe to be able to pick up the gems and get out of their spawn. This can be difficult to do if the opposing team has someone respawning as you're trying to pick up the gems, and they have their shield and they can just start spamming auto-aim to finish you off. Removing ammo on respawn makes comebacks not only easier, but I'd argue they will become more common. Teams won't be able to just fall back into their spawn and stall your team out anymore. And if you manage to get the team wipe, you can almost definitely make it out of their spawn with the gems after this change. And honestly, I think that's a good thing, as you should be rewarded for pulling that off. In my opinion, this change will make the game mode a lot more exciting. Alright, the last mode I think will benefit from this change is Duo Showdown. And this one's a little bit more situational, because if you play a long-range brawler, you won't have to worry about it, but it definitely helps short-range brawlers for the mode a lot. Of course, I'm talking about that situation when you manage to kill one member of a team, but while you're trying to take down the second member, their teammate respawns with their shield and auto-aims you down. That's a frustrating situation to deal with, and we've all been there and been burned by it a couple times. Now, that person will respawn, but will more than likely have to run away if they want to keep their team in the game. Of course, they will still have their respawn shield to give them the advantage if you get too low on HP and they can just one-shot you when they do reload a shot. But overall, I think that it's going to be easier to clear out teams in Duo Showdown, and it's going to benefit the mode in the long run. And that's genuinely all the aspects of the game that I think will benefit from this change. Now, let's talk about the negatives I see coming from this change. The first negative from this change is that it favors brawlers with faster reload speeds. Brawlers like Primo, BB, and Nita will reload all their ammo and get back into the fight much faster than brawlers like Brock, Piper, and Amber. A brawler that is really hurt by this though is Mortis, a fan favorite brawler that everyone loves to play. It'll take 10 to 11 seconds for Mortis to reload all 3 shots and his coiled snake, and that's not even considering if you use your dashes to get up the map like most bad randoms do. That's a really long time to be down a team member who can't get into a fight because they don't have any ammo. And a brawler like Mortis, who's going to get into bad situations because he's just too hyper aggressive, is going to die a lot. So you're going to be down a team member more often than not. Overall, I feel like this really hurts a lot of brawlers' viability in the long run, as well as making dying extremely punishing on them. And this won't be just a meta thing either if they don't tweak the way this respawn change works. I honestly think a better change would have been to just change how long it takes to respawn in general, rather than make it so that you're useless when you do respawn. At least then, it affects all brawlers uniformly, instead of skewing it more towards the fast reload speed brawlers, who I think will have an easier time finding a spot in the meta over their longer reload speed counterparts. Alright, moving on from the brawler-specific issues, we're going to jump back into the game modes that I think are negatively affected by this change. And the first two I want to talk about are Siege and Heist. Having no ammo when you respawn makes it so you can't properly defend your safe or Ike, and it makes dying extremely punishing for the modes. Siege will basically become a one-push mode in my opinion, as it's very difficult to properly defend both the bot and opposing brawlers without losing at least one person on your team. And as we discussed, depending on the brawler they're playing, they may become totally useless for a long period of time. And this problem gets much worse as the bot's level increases, so if you tie in a round and then you lose the next round and have to deal with a level 10 or 11 bot, the game is basically over at that point. And as for Heist, while it does have the potential to make the game mode a lot faster, which, as I speculated, is their goal in the long run, it also has the potential to slow the game down a lot in my opinion. And that's because, like I said, dying in these modes will become extremely punishing. And that's because if you lose your lane and that snowballs into a team wipe, the game's basically over because, like I said, you can't properly defend your safe when you have no ammo. This amount of punishment in a game mode like Heist will make good players very hesitant to get too aggressive. And it could turn the mode into something like Bounty, where it's just a big poke fight until someone makes a mistake. And personally, I don't think Heist is a mode that I want to watch be in a constant stalemate for most of the match. But we're going to move on from Siege and Heist, and we're going to talk about Bounty. And this is the mode that I think is going to have the worst change in my opinion. I think spawn camping is going to become very rampant in the mode, and it will become extremely annoying to play because of it. Now it's going to be much more rewarding to take a very aggressive position after getting a kill on a map, as opposed to just playing safe and passive. Now, I'll acknowledge there's probably going to be a huge meta shift in Bounty soon. We'll probably see much more aggressive comps like Poco Double Tank and mid-range brawlers with faster reload speeds being favored. And that's not such a bad thing honestly, since Bounty has always been one of the more boring modes to watch in esports in my opinion. But I'm not really a fan of the idea of watching a team get spawn camped for the majority of a match just because they don't have any ammo to defend themselves when they do respawn. That doesn't sound super entertaining to me, and it can also bring up a lot of toxicity in the game with things like spinning and throwing pins while this is all going on. I'm not sure how often this type of thing will actually happen, but if it does become a common thing, then I'm not a fan of it at all. So, while Supercell is doing a lot of things right with this upcoming update, from the brawlers to the new game modes to the balance changes, I think this respawn change is a huge mistake. I think it hurts the viability of some brawlers, especially a fan favorite like Mortis, and I think it has the potential to outright ruin some game modes like Bounty, Heist, and Siege. I honestly think it would have been better just to apply it to certain game modes like Gem Grab, Duo Showdown, and Brawl Ball, or just increase the amount of time it takes to respawn in general, like I said earlier. That way it affects all brawlers the same amount and still has the potential of speeding up matches like I speculated what the goal was with this change. The silver lining is that if things don't go well, Frank did say they are open to reverting the change. However, we will have to deal with it for some time if it does go bad, since Frank said he also expects there to be an adjustment period, which means they're going to be hesitant and they're going to want to see how people react to it for a longer period of time. And maybe I'm wrong with all this speculation, and this is just me overreacting to a change that may make the game better in the long run. But what do you guys think? Like I said at the beginning, I just wanted to give my thoughts on the change and hear what you guys think because, like I said, nobody's really talking about this, and I just wanted to start the discussion with my community. So, comment what you guys think, and if you agree or disagree with anything I said, comment that as well. But that's going to do it for this one. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.